Tēnā koutou katoa, ko Georgie Jacobs tōku ingoa, no Aotearoa hau, nau mai, hau mai. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Georgie, I'm from New Zealand, I'm a New Zealand Māori and proud of it. So today I have a lovely lady who's here with me, travelled from Whakatane. Just a little background on how I met her. I went to a healers gathering in Rotorua. I felt compelled to go at the time, so it was quite neat seeing so many different healers in one place and being able to go and sit with them, either to get a massage or a mirimiri or to get a reading done. So there was an empty bed, and I thought, I saw these people in front of it, and I thought, Angie's going to go, isn't anyone going to go on that bed? And they said, no, we're waiting for this person. So I said, oh, I'm going to go on it. And over toddled a little Māori woman, and I'm going to let her introduce herself to you, but she took me through a process of using my own wairua and something totally different, but I really felt my wairua working inside of me, first time ever. So on that, I haven't kept in touch as much as I wanted to, but we've reconnected again, and she's here with me today. So I just want to welcome you here and thank you for taking the time to come with me. So I'm going to let her introduce herself to you. Hey, nice I can do it.
Kia ora, Georgie, and thank you for that. And it is fantastic just to make that reconnection again. We've done it on and off since we first initially met, our first time, and it's just an absolute pleasure to be here again. I'm Māori Mason Tiananga, and I'm from Purupuru, small place in Whakatane, part of the Bay of Plenty in Aotearoa. My whakapapa, or my lineage, I suppose, is on my mother's side. Actually, we start with our fathers first, sorry. On my father's side is Ngāti Pūkiko and Patuai. And then on my mother's side is Ngāti Whātua, Ngāti Whātua Tūturu, Ngāti Hine, Ngāti Kuru, Ngāti Wai, and Ngāti Waikea Aotearoa. And the why, how I got into this, I suppose we go all the way back to coming forward across the other side to my father's side, to his father, my Koro, who after the war, when he came back from the Second World War, his job was a diviner as well as working on the wharfs. But as a diviner, he was to find the water, and people would come to him, and if they had a farm, a new farm, or they were building houses, and they'd ask him to go and find water on their land, because away from the river. And so what he did was just that. He'd find the punas, and people would often ask me, did he do it with the copper rods? Well, they weren't around in those times, so he used the old way of using the willow tree. And people say, why the willow? And it's because you would always find a willow tree by the river, and there was never a tall willow tree by the river banks. They were always bent, and they killed over because the water always attracted it and pulled it in. So that was that relationship between the water and the willow tree. So me being little, I could crawl out onto the small branches that overhung the river and find the ones with the bow, with the main trunk of that particular branch branched out into a fork, and we'd cut those off, and they would be Koro's divining rods. And so we used to go off then looking for the water, or the punas that ran through lands. And part of that, that exposure to that side was he'd often have to do karakia, and I'd ask him, what you doing, Koro? And he'd say he'd be clearing the land because something had happened there at some particular time. So in this particular area we were looking, there were way back Māori wars and that had happened, Māori battles, and there could have been some sort of awanga, or not only that, at previous times there may have been whenua buried there, and that's the placentas Okay, so they were buried there, and then the petal of babies and that. So that essence of those people was still there, and that would be the spirit in the Wairua. So I suppose that would be my initial venture into Wairua at that time. And then being brought up in a Pākehā world where your parents thought it was best for you to learn everything Pākehā, because that was the world you were moving into, and to leave aside your Māori side, and which included at that time the reo. So that was my venture firstly, I suppose, into just touching base with my taha Māori side and the healing side. But fast forward 40 years, maybe so, to a time when I'd hurt my back. I'm not sure what I'd done, but something really silly, knowing me. And as you go to the doctor and have the tablets and the pills, so Western medicine, which is take a bite, it's still good, but I still thought there needed to be something else I could do, because it kept recurring, kept coming back. And so my nannies, who are also, well, mataketea is what I call it then, because my nannies, they could see things, they could hear voices, and they spoke with people who had passed on to the other side. And so they said, you need to use this rongoa, try this rongoa, which is Māori medicine. Medicine's made from different herbs and have different processes for doing it. Oh, I should need a mirimiri, and to me a mirimiri was just a massage. But with this reoccurring back pain and backache, my husband said, okay, why don't you go and see this kinesiologist? I go, a what? Didn't know what a kinesiologist was. And he says, his name's John Burness, so off we go to John. And my husband had already made the appointment. I walk into his office and he says to me, well, what are you doing here? And I go, I've come for my back. Thinking, hey, you know, that's why we come. And he goes, no, I mean, what are you doing here as a patient? You need to be doing this. I looked at him a bit, oh, okay. And he goes, I am doing some classes, I want you to attend those. And so that came my foray into that side of the healing, and it was down again the Western Pākehā side of that. And so I followed the kinesiology, which is basically realigning the spine in people's bodies.
Beautiful.
So that they feel better. And then from there, I suppose where I am now is I followed that line, but from there I felt there was something missing. I could do better. And for me, by doing better was to include the taha Māori side, which was able to marry them up. And the taha Māori was by bringing in the Wairua, and everybody has a Wairua, that's a spirit. People, animals, trees, inanimate objects, they all have a life force.
Living organisms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, even this chair, because it was a tree, it
Yes.
still has that memory.
Well, I didn't think of it that
yeah.
way.
So, as I said, inanimate objects and that they have a Wairua. And so I've looked at, okay, how can I bring the Wairua in with the kinesiology and marry those two? And you do. And you can. And that's where I am. So what I do now, I bring the Wairua and people's Wairua into the mahi that we're doing when I'm working with them. But I always ask their permission. And then what it is I don't bring it in, even though I said I'll bring it in. I don't bring it in, it's already there. I get permission from that Wairua to work alongside them, and we collaborate in supporting them. And I ensure that their Wairua knows that I'm not taking over, I'm just working alongside to support them, so the Wairua has the control of it all. And everybody has that Wairua in them. It's that innate ability to heal themselves. And they can heal themselves, and this is the area where I branch off to, is through like quantum healing. So that sometimes whatever they have may not be from their physical from something they've done here and now. It may be a trauma that they've carried from Mairano.
Aye.
So
we're
way
talking
back-
ancestral karma, right?
That's right, so going way back there. And we don't know that has happened, but through doing this, the wairua can actually take you back and take you through and then bring it all forward and then clear it.
That actually sounds like I was watching a lady on YouTube and she does past life regression. It sounds similar to that, yeah.
And in kinesiology, there's a thing called NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming, whereby you do deep stating and you do regression.
So it is similar?
Similar, except that the way I practice it is people don't want to keep revisiting.
Sure. So is it a simulation? Is it like a simulation of what happened?
Not really, because your wairua just goes and finds the parts that are stuck, and they'll go back very quickly. So it's about the wairua feeling comfortable and knowing what it's looking for. So you just give it a guide and it'll go back and find out whether it's in the person themselves here and now, and if it is that trauma, the physical pain that they're experiencing, was it caused here and now on that particular body? Is it an emotion that's gotten stuck? Or is it actually a physical, and that'll show up? Or is it something that belongs somewhere else that had not been sorted out?
Sure.
So you carry that through, that mamai, all the way through. Could have been something small, way back then, Mairano times, or somewhere in the ancestors, and it was never addressed. Skip a few generations, the same thing happened. So that little thing is now a little bit bigger, still not addressed. And then by the time it's come through to you, maybe, 7, 8, 9, 10 generations later, who knows, it only takes a little thing to set it off, and it is there. And so once that wairua finds it, then anything that's clearing. So it's like quantum medicine at the same time, because time is not linear.
So it's like that time heals everything, right?
So, yes, it is that saying there. It's time heals everything, but not only that, it's what you do with that time.
Correct.
And how do you heal that time? So it's first of all identifying the time it is and what it is, and then moving it forward.
So doing the healing process.
And doing the healing
All
process.
the shadow work that's attached to it.
Whatever it is, yes.
Yeah.
Because it could be, and so that's that way of clearing it. So,
do you think maybe, with your koro doing clearing on the land and on the whenua, that might have helped with where you're going right now?
oh, most definitely. Though I've never ever had to stop and until you brought that up and think about it. Yes, I'd say so. Yeah.
So you're
he's
clearing in
given
the
that.
body. Yeah.
Yeah. What he did on the land,
Yeah.
I'm now practicing and doing it on the body and healing. Back
That
then,
is
so it's a
beautiful.
clearing. Yes, thank you for bringing that up there, because when you do things, you just do it, and sometimes you do it without thinking of the reasons why you've actually been put here to do that and placed here. And so I'm just so blessed that I am allowed to do this, and that people's wairua are so accepting of it. So I suppose that's the why and how I got into this.
So I understand you do animals as well.
Yes, I do the animals because, as I said, they are living beings too. They have a wairua. I love working with dogs, cows, and horses. And in saying that, I love working with them. I suppose it's because, one, they are the only ones that I've been working with, and so basically they're the ones I have this affiliation to. I suppose if I was exposed to other animals, yeah, I'll do that, but only because living out in the countryside, I'm exposed to dogs, goats, cats and cows, so it's your normal animals there, so nothing foreign, but they all have an energy, they all have a wairua, and they respond.
So you use, now I remember you saying you use colours of the rainbow.
Rainbow ones,
You wanna,
yes.
you want
that one.
to talk about that a little bit?
Okay, so with the animals, and especially with dogs and that, the rainbow has a healing, and dogs can feel that. And so with their wairua, I just call them the colours of the rainbow, and each one will come through. And if I bring it through, so it comes from Papatuanuku,
Right.
from the earth, and it comes up, and it comes up through the dog's. I get it to come through the dog's head, and then come back down by its tail. And each one, and then I'm asking the dog to choose the colour it likes. So each one would come through with as a healing one, and the dog will respond to the colour.
So with the colours, is it almost like choosing the colours from your chakra?
It is. It's the same ones.
Oh,
the
wow.
same ones. And
So you know
it's
which
got
ones to
colours
work with when they choose the colour?
Yes, it's not. Well, sometimes with your body and that, in that part, depending on what it is. But sometimes it's just the colour that the dog will choose, and then so you're just bringing that colour into them, and they say that how can the dog understand your language?
Talk about
Yeah. Oh, they ask, yeah, how can the dog understand your language? But believe it or not, it's not the dog, it's the dog's wairua. And so I'm speaking with the wairua, and it will choose, but the dog responds to that. And then normally you will actually see when you bring it and the colours, the dog will watch the rainbow, its head will go up with the eyes, and it's watching the colours as they come through. So as you call it, then you just say to them, okay, there's the red, there's the yellow, and the green, and then the blue. Oh, the yellow. I get quieter and quieter as I'm coming in. I think I'm working with the animals when I'm talking to you. And so the dog will respond to the colour that is. So then that's the colour, you use it, and you're just telling the dog, right, this is the colour that'll heal you. And though it's so simple, it's so profound.
I believe that.
Yeah. And people say, but you didn't do much. I go, I don't do much. It's the wairua. And so it's the dog's wairua. It's that innate ability for them to heal themselves. Because it's not only us that can heal ourselves. We have that innate ability. Animals do too.
Beautiful. So you would tell us a little bit about quantum leaping into different dimensions.
Okay, and I wouldn't call it quantum leaping. It's quantum healing. I call it healing, and in that time, it's not linear. Okay, there are different times and different worlds, and people looking at you and saying, okay, so there's a whole lot happening at once, and you're in this particular time at this moment, but that doesn't mean you're not over there as well. So there's this reflection. It's they call them quantum, healing, and that means you can work across all time, space, realities, and dimensions. And the veil between them are so thin that sometimes there is a leakage, and you may pick up something from that particular dimension that actually causes, like we said, a bit of dis-ease, not disease, but a dis-ease or discomfort. And doing what we do is just to make the body realign and feel good again. And that's it by working across those. So what you clear here, we also clear across all time, space, dimensions, and realities. And then we do massive exchange in all history. So whether that history is history now, history past, or history in the future, because they go, what do you mean history in the future? Because the future is like this, here, now, I know in the future that I was here a minute ago. So I'm living in my future now.
So it becomes the present.
So it becomes the present.
Nice.
Yeah.
No, I understand all that. I think it's amazing how you're able to go from one dimension to the next, to, as you call it, quantum or mirroring yourself in a shall we say, it's the now,
Mm-hmm.
but it's in a different time. Right?
Yeah.
So I remember reading a book similar to that, but they were calling it quantum leaping, where you go from Aotearoa in the old ancient times to Aotearoa now.
Okay.
So the book itself, or the story, was absolutely wonderful, where it talked about different things that were happening back then, and those people in those times were helping this young lad understand his tahamari side, right? But then when he comes back into New Zealand, it's put it that, so it's got Aotearoa and New Zealand, right? So you can tell where he is at that time, and he'll meet people like, I don't know, Pānio of the Reef, you know, all these what do you call them? Oh, anyway, so they're like
Myths.
Myths. So there was a name I was trying to find, and it just escaped my head. But he got to meet all these myths in the different areas of that where he was at that time. So yeah, beautiful stories, you know. But I enjoyed the fact that he had that twist where he was able to go into both, but still be present.
And that's a different side again. That one there, where he is, like you said, actually able to travel and see things, and that's, I suppose, on a parallel side to what we do, in that we heal you here and now, and we don't go back. It's the wairua.
I think that's what was happening.
Yeah, it's just the wairua.
So when he talked about the person going back. Maybe it was out of body experience, you know, so those sort of things. Yeah. So it all kind of interconnects, really.
Well, those on the table, when they experience this and that, and they come through, and I always ask, you know, well, did you see anything? Did you hear things? Did you see colours? Did you smell them? So that olification, it's called, and whether they can smell some of the smells that occurred at a particular time back there. And they see things. And they're quite shocked because they've never seen things before, and so they're able to say and explain what they saw and who the ancestors were, and even what the event was that happened, and they can then now know that what's happened there, and that's the sort of thing I'm holding on to, and so they're ready to let it go.
Can't boy. Yeah, it does sound like that.
It sounds very sci-fi.
No, it sounds like that.
Past life regressions.
Yeah, it sounds like that, where they've gone to experience things from the past, or a life that they were in a past life, and then so on and so on. So I like watching things like that too.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this one here, I suppose the good thing is that if there has been a trauma in somebody's life in this particular time, or another one, they don't have to go and relive it again, because it's a trauma.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, it's a trauma, and they don't have to not only relive it, they don't have to explain what they're seeing. So, as opposed to if they're being counselled, and that, so that would be the exciting part also, or the best part of it. And it's just that the wairua then finds it, and then like in the push the delete button, like on the computer, push the delete, and all those files disappeared. Yeah,
nice.
But you then have to think what is going to replace those files.
Well, now good things can come in, right?
But you have to put them there, otherwise the nangaras will come out, and that's another part of it, is placing those things in there.
So tell us a little bit of what, and we'll use my dog as an example for what you did with Boboi's.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just trying to think now back with Boboi, because a lot of these things is too, because I'm working with their wairua, it happens there and then, and even with people, once my work is finished, and that I'm out of there, and I sometimes don't remember.
Wow. Okay. I can share with you what you told me. Yeah. So you found memories in his tail of him jumping high grass, and it was one of the times that he was his happiest. And that was, it wasn't just the vision, that actually happened in real life. You know, he enjoyed jumping high, tall grass.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So when you mentioned that you saw that towards his tail, his memories, that brought great joy, knowing that he's okay. Because I was worried about him.
Oh, good. Yes, because like I said, and a lot of the times, and you'll find a lot of healers, they just do the job, and then we step out, and that's how we've let it go. And it
Yes.
goes back up to the universe and out there. And it goes the same with animals. And then when I see them again, I know that I have that relationship with their wairua
Yes.
and with them too. I may not know specifically what I did with them, but I go, yep. And they remember as well.
Is there anything else you'd like to share with us today?
Oh, the thing I'd like to share with you is I think what you're doing is fabulous. It's providing a platform for people. But not only that, it's the way you do it and the way you manage to direct us and bring us in. Like I said to you earlier, by watching some of your earlier ones, I thought, wow, you're a journalist. And I didn't know
That I had done
journalism, but you have a way of just, bringing you back and bringing you back on course, because folks, this is about the 4th or 5th go we've had here. I'm allowed to say that?
Yeah,
Because so many times I've had to be, edit, please stop. And so, no, just to make it so succinct and that the story is condensed and the story you want to be told and shown, you managed to do that.
So do you want to say anything to our audience? Thank
Around?
you for saying that.
Oh, yes, and so can I just say to people, look, if you have a physical pain or pain somewhere, okay, it may not be because you slept funny or you picked up something, and turned around somewhere. You may be carrying a trauma or something else that's in there and it's stuck in your neck and you've never actually let it go, an emotional one. No matter what, whether it's physical, emotional or chemical, whatever, don't be afraid to go and look up a healer. They're in every rohe, in every locality, and be open. That's what I say.
Awesome.
Be open to receive, and you'll find that you receive it with love, and then just let it go, and everything else goes. But nō reira, ngā mihi kia koutou. Thank you. And then may I say blessings on you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for that. So you heard it right here. Oh, now she's wiping her brow. Whew, that's done, she said. But like I said, I'm keeping these raw. Be kind and respectful in your comments. I've enjoyed the journey with you. I got to relive where it started from, which is amazing. And I love the fact that you were able just to give us a couple of examples of what you do, but also having that from a very young age. How amazing is that? I think everyone, like I said, from the very beginning, everyone is a healer, but it's been being able to acknowledge what gifts you have and how you're going to help humanity in the process. By healing oneself first, are you able to help others heal themselves? Not you heal them, but help others heal themselves. And but like what Whaia was saying, that she works with their wairua. I think that's amazing that you can assist the wairua to heal within oneself. I mean, it's all new for me, but how interesting is that? So again, ngā mihi, ngā mihi, ngā mihi. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
I really appreciate her taking the time to be with me today. But we will be doing an update at some stage to see where she is and what she's doing. I'm going to meet some healers this Sunday, so I'm extremely excited, and Whaia Māori will be there as well. So just wait to see what happens next. And just keep walking with me, keep talking with me. Let me know your ideas. If you like this sort of thing, just leave a comment below. It's just going to be amazing. I really don't know what to say. I'm blown away. I think we've run out of puff, to be quite honest. But so here we go. Ka kite.
Ka kite. Awesome.